welcome back to goldstocktrades.com. Today we have a returning guest with us, Garrett McDonald from Maritime Resources, which can be traded as MAE on the TSX Venture. Maritime, you may remember we've been speaking to Garrett for almost a year now. We believe that they were heading into a turnaround year. They've recently announced some exciting drill results that I don't think that the market really understands the significance, and I'm glad to have you back here, Garrett, on Gold Stock Trades to give us an update on Maritime Resources and some recent news and highlights.
Thank you, Jed. Yeah, it's good to be back.
For those who don't know the story yet, could you highlight the key takeaways about Maritime and the Hammerdown Gold Project?
Yeah, you bet. So Maritime's key takeaways. Our primary asset is the Hammerdown Gold Project. This is in the province of Newfoundland and Labrador, a great jurisdiction to work in. What we're dealing with at Hammerdown is a mine that was in production back in the early 2000s. Closed when gold prices were about $300 an ounce. We have roughly a 1 million ounce resource right now at the moment in all categories. We completed an updated technical report. The PEA was announced last year around this time. They looked at a very nice high-grade, low-capital startup operation to get the mine into production again at around 70,000 ounces a year. Capital was around 57 million Canadian. It gave us at $1,500 an ounce a really nice economic result of around $154 million NPV with a 65% after-tax IRR. So we followed up that study last year with a significant amount of infill drilling, close to 25,000 meters. We also announced that we did a deal with Rambler Metals and Mining to purchase the idle Nugget Pond Gold Circuit, which was the original gold plan that was used to process ore from Hammerdown when it was running back in the early 2000s. We just announced this morning that we closed that transaction, as well as a $4 million investment from Tembo Capital. So that was announced early this morning. We also are in the project permitting and feasibility phases of the Hammerdown project right now, so we're going through those. Those will be completed later on this year. And we also announced just recently, too, that we completed a $6.9 million flow-through financing that will fund a very big exploration program in Newfoundland for us at the Hammerdown project, the nearby Orion deposit, and our Whisker Valley project, just a few kilometers away from Hammerdown. So, yeah, it's a busy year, lots of things going on, but very exciting as well.
And when you look at the structure of the company, you have some major shareholders, institutions such as Sprott and Dundee and Crescat in 1832. Also, you have in April 2021, looking at the 32 million warrants expiring, and you just announced a deal today. Could you highlight just some of the significant from a corporate structure perspective and financial perspective, the recent financing, the recent deal today, and the expiration of warrants?
Yeah, so on the warrant side, we had quite a few warrants expiring yesterday, actually, at 15 cents. So we'll have an update out shortly, I think, on how many of those were exercised. So that really removes a big overhang, I think, on the stock from the warrants that were there. I guess the plan here going forward with our treasury that we have will be approximately 10 million in cash at the moment. A lot of that is flow through that we've raised just recently with the flow through financing. So we'll probably end up drilling about 30 to 40,000 meters this year on exploration around the Hammerdown project, with the goal of growing our resource base, adding to the mine plan, and making new discoveries across what we think is a very exciting property package of about 360 square kilometers. So it's a big area, and we've got a lot of interesting targets that we're going to be able to follow up on this year.
Okay, and please highlight the team that is in place to bring this to the next step closer to production?
Yeah, so the team we've got we have a small team in Toronto, just the administrative team here, which are Maine Coombs, our CFO, Tanya in charge of investor relations, Lorna McGilvery is our corporate secretary, and myself. That's really the Toronto team. And then everyone else is down in Newfoundland. We've got a good exploration team there in the town of Kings Point in Springdale. Perry Blanchard is there as well. He's our VP of Environment and Sustainability. He just recently joined us from Kirkland Lake Gold, and he lives just a few miles down the road from the mine, which is really, really handy to have, as well as Larry Pilgrim, our project manager in Newfoundland, and he was also the chief geologist at Hammerdown when it was running. So great knowledge there of the deposit and potential for expansion. We've got a couple of advisors helping us out as well, Jeremy Nemi on the exploration side and Eric Tremblay on the mining side.
For those who are new to the mining sector, could you highlight the excitement around the Newfoundland mining industry? I know that Newfound Gold is hitting some incredible results and got uplisted to the GDXJ this year that a lot of us have been following. We've also been following the Atlantic Golds. They were taken out by an Australian company. And the Marathon Gold, Valentine Lake is another advanced gold project. If you could just highlight for those that are outside looking in, the importance of the Newfoundland mining industry and the excitement around there and how Hammerdown and the Whisker Valley project fit into that.
Yeah, sure. No, Newfoundland, I find, is just a great place to do business. There's no shortage of mineral potential, and I've been working on this project here for about 2 years now. And I can't say enough good things about the jurisdiction. It's a place that, wants mining investment, of course, done the right way. There's, like I said, with the exploration potential in the area around the Baie Verte area, around where we are, we get our projects. We've got Rambler operating a big copper mine up to the north of us. We have the Anaconda mine up there as well, still running, doing really well, and a lot of exploration potential just in and around us. I think in general, this statement probably is true of most of Newfoundland. It's been very well prospected, lightly explored when you maybe would compare it to Ontario or Quebec. So there's a lot of exploration upside here. Projects like Marathon, Newfound Gold, the Cape Ray project down there with Matador on the southwest part of the island. There's a lot happening here. It's a really, really great place to invest. There's skilled labor, suppliers. You have a government who's very familiar with mining and supportive. So, yeah, I think it's a great place to do business, and
this
we're going to be here for a long time.
This was the former highest grade gold mine in Newfoundland. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think so. I think that at around 15 to 16 grams per ton, Hammerdown was running for about 4 years, produced about 145,000 ounces of gold. And during those days with gold prices in the $300 to $400 range, they operated with a very high cutoff grade of about 8.5 grams per ton. So today's prices, certainly different. We're looking at more of an open pit startup scenario than underground. So we can drop that cutoff grade even lower, down to, say, a gram, maybe 0.5 gram per ton. And it really unlocks a lot of resources that were never considered back when the mine was running.
So talk to us a little bit about for a lot of investors, they don't realize how advanced this project is to get back into production. Not only do we have the exploration upside with possibly finding the offset at depth, but there's so much. This is advanced, So if you could highlight to investors that you have an engineering background, you're into mine building, that this is also a project that with these higher gold prices that you could turn on in a relatively a shorter time period than other projects.
Yeah, and I think that speaks to our strategy as a company. When we started looking at this a couple of years ago, saw an opportunity to basically restart a brownfields project that had, like I mentioned, been operated at a very high cutoff grade. So with today's gold prices, with the change in mining method, also looking at technology such as ore sorting, which has come a long way and is actually very effective at removing dilution from the narrow high-grade veins that we would mine, and also utilizing an existing gold circuit that is in the area. So originally, Hammerdown ore was processed at the Nugget Pond Mill. So the gold circuit has been sitting there, last operated in 2012, and as I mentioned, we just announced closing of the transaction this morning that acquired the gold circuit. Okay, so it's an important step that kind of connect all the dots to a restart of the mine. We are in the process of permitting the project, and we started that process last July, I think, with our registration. So if we kind of fast forward on the project to kind of fall or near the end of the year, we hope to be through project permitting completely. We hope to be through the feasibility study. So at that time, we'll be looking for project financing to look at a 2022 construction and startup. So it's a relatively small project, but we think with the low capital and the high grades that we're looking at, that it'll be a very profitable one and form the basis for future growth. It's something that gets us started utilizing what's available, but a really great way to get started.
Well, expected production, construction 2022, permits
right.
Hopefully by Q4 2021. We're already in 2021, so it's not that far off. And let's talk about the exploration, because I was speaking to one of my subscribers who saw the news at the end of March and was pretty impressed on how the drill results kind of showed a connection between the Orion pit and the Hammerdown. So if you could highlight the recent results and the significance from a geological exploration and mining perspective.
Yeah, sure. So at the Hammerdown project, we've got two deposits. So there's the Hammerdown deposit. That's the one that was mined originally by Richmont. About 2 kilometers to the southwest is another deposit called Orion. They're about 500,000 ounces each, as to give you an idea. But Orion was never mined. Okay, so, and there's a gap of exploration in between the two. It's a bit of a wet, kind of boggy area, but there's been very little drilling in between. So we started last summer and finished up in the fall with a new geophysics program. We flew a VTEM survey over all of our property, all 360 square kilometers, including the area around the mine site. So in between the Hammerdown and Orion deposits, we identified a number of new targets that showed up, and we haven't seen those before. So we started doing some drilling there. We had a release out at the end of March that highlighted a couple of new things. We're starting to see some high-grade veins showing up in between the two deposits. Now, so far they're narrow, but decent grade. We hit 3 grams over 6.3 meters, including 90.7 grams over 0.2 meters. So very skinny, but showing us that the system's alive. There's something going on there. It's early days for us. These are kind of the first holes that we've put into this area. So there's a lot of work to do from here, but encouraging when you can find high-grade gold like that in an area that, well, you didn't really know about before. So we also have some more drilling taking place just right in the Orion zone itself, and we've hit some really nice material in there in the past few holes, and there'll be more information coming out shortly on that one. So overall, the exploration, I guess, plan for this year is to focus in this area around Hammerdown and Orion and in between to look for resources that we can extend and grow onto the existing resource base and hopefully draw those into the mine plan and add to the mine life and add to the economics.
Well, it's been an exciting year, 2020. Milestones achieved that we've been following since the PEA was released in February of 2020. Significant equity financings, over $12 million this past summer. Completed over 25,000 meters of drilling. Project permitting is underway. They signed the deal for the processing plant, the gold plant, this morning. There's so much to look forward to in 2021. And to get more, if you want more information, you can go to the website, which is Maritime Gold. maritimeresourcescorp.com. You can also email info@maritimegold.com. You can also reach them at the Toronto office at 416-365-5321. Thank you, Garrett, for being here with us today and for giving us an update on Maritime Resources. Looking forward to some exciting developments in 2021.
Yep, thank you very much, Jeb.